Hello, everybody. Welcome to the AME Everywhere International Conference session with Paul Akers and his company FastCap.
Oh gosh, it's funny. We're about ready to watch a FastCap tour, and as Richard's doing that, I'll just make a preface to everyone so they know. We've been doing lean for 21 years now, and it took us the first 5 years to finally figure out what was going on. And that was really the ability just to be able to see waste, and all of our people to see waste, not just me, not just the Kaizen leaders, so to speak, but everybody seeing waste. And so you're going to see an imperfect company that has been stumbling through lean and making great progress. And we still have a long, long journey to go, about another 300 years, we estimate.
So without further ado, we're going from Atlanta, where our conference was originally scheduled to be, to FastCap in Bellingham, Washington. And here's FastCap's wonderful, wonderful sandbox. So Paul, over to you.
Okay, well, today our team is going to take over and with the lead of Lucas Holland. He's my right-hand man at FastCap, and he does an extraordinary job, and along with the rest of the team. And we're going to show you what we're doing and how we do it. And I'm going to leave it right to Lucas. Lucas, it's all yours. Rock and roll. Let's have some fun.
Thanks, Paul. Well, hello. Welcome to FastCap. My name is Lucas Holland. I am the lead production engineer here at FastCap. And first of all, I want to say I'm sure you guys all tuned in because we're FastCap. We wrote the book 2 Second Lean. We must be perfect. We're going to give you a perfect tour and show you exactly what your company should look like. Well, we're not perfect, and we know we're not perfect, and that's the important part. We embrace that we're not perfect. I believe it's Mr. Amazawa that taught us the concept from Toyota of no problems, you have big problem. Because if you don't have problems, you can't identify your problems. How are you ever going to improve your problems? You have to have problems, and you have to embrace those and constantly improve. That's the spirit of Kaizen. So as lead production engineer, my job is twofold, and most of both folds are to grow people and to help people have better lives. So the first half of my job is to train people on lean, to teach them what the 8 wastes are, help teach them to see the waste, help teach them to improve and get rid of those wastes, help them see that they can make changes to their job that makes it more fun. It makes them want to come to work and makes them want to do the jobs that they were originally struggling with. And then teach them that they can take those concepts home and they can improve their life at home as well as at work and make it better. The other half of my job is, well, County Battery said it best, to work myself out of a job. So I figure out what's the biggest problem at FastCap right now? Where are we having too many defects, or what is running too slowly, or what do people just not like doing? And jump in there, learn the process as it is, figure out how to improve the process, make it easier, make it more efficient, make it more poke-yoke, error-proof, make it fun and easy to do. And then I take that job and I teach someone else to do it. And I give them the reins so that they have the ability to succeed instead of struggle the way people have struggled before. So we're starting the tour here in engineering at FastCap. And engineering is where I'm currently working myself out of a job. So some of you guys might be familiar with what I would call the 2-week crunch. That's when someone puts in their 2 weeks notice and all of a sudden you realize they didn't completely buy into lean. There's not standards, there's not processes. They had what they thought as job security because only they knew that. And all of a sudden you got 2 weeks to figure everything out and everyone's running around like, oh my God, what am I gonna do if this machine breaks down? And my job is to make sure we don't have a 2-week crunch. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm gonna start off by showing you, this is our Haas CNC, for example. And on this, if I was gone for the next month and a half, we wouldn't slow down production because right where you ask the question, that's where we have the answer. Right inside here, I have QR codes, notes, everything you possibly need to know, how to fill the coolant, what to do if a tool breaks, even down to an hour-long QR code on how to write a new program for a new product and a list of people to call if there's any major problems. You know exactly what to do. Coming over here, this is our engineering board, and this is where we keep all of our Kanbans for engineering. So yellow ones mean they require a machine to produce them. Green ones can be done by hand. It's the only difference. But again, right where the question is, that's where the answer is. Every Kanban card has a QR code right on it. And that QR code shows you where to go to get the stuff, how to set it up, how to do the process, where to deliver it to, how to clean up, everything you could possibly need to know to accomplish this task. And the Kanban card is really how we keep flow. It keeps everything running just the right amount, just the right time, and we run everything off these physical Kanban cards. They are our signals that work needs to be done. So back here, this is our engineering design area, And this is where I'm still working on working myself out of a job, but this is where we do all our design work. We have 2 stand-up desks, and I'm working on standardizing that too. So we got all our accounts and passwords, which you obviously don't get to see, they're covered up, but I'm also working on QR codes for how to do design work so that we don't have to hire a college-educated design engineer. We can do what we like to call being the University of FastCap. We hire people for their personality, who they are, get the right people on the team, and then we train them the skills they need to know. So I'm going to make sets of QR codes for how to do all the design work, standards for how they get saved, everything like that. And so when we have a design we want to bring to market, first we design it on the computer, and then we 3D print a prototype to test it out. So right behind the computers here, we have 2 3D printers. We can print out our prototypes on there, and we send those to a group of beta testers that we have. So our beta testers are contractors working in the field. They're people that would otherwise be buying these products, and we send them the 3D printed prototypes so that they can use them, and then they come back and they give us feedback. And they say, this is too hard to turn, and this didn't work because it didn't do this right. Then we go back, we redesign it, send them a new version, and we work on it till we get it perfect. Once it's perfect, then we get to manufacture it and sell it to fantastic people like you guys. So for manufacturing, there's a couple different ways we do it. One, we have a big flatbed wood CNC in the wood shop here. It's back behind the wood bunk there. So we cut pieces out on there, and then we either ship them flat packed, or we router, sand, assemble them, and ship them out as full pieces. And then we have our metal machining shop right here. And this is, I think, the cleanest metal shop you will ever see, let me just say. And that's another way that we work on working ourselves out of our job, is we make sure that all the tools that anyone needs are there. They're clearly organized. They have what they need to accomplish the job well. And everything's cut into foam. And then we love our GPS tape. We GPS all our tools to where they should be. You'll see some other uses for it too later in the tour, but we've done something really cool here. We have a warehouse evacuation plan. It's required to be posted, but we took our warehouse map and we actually color coded the entire thing. So if you find a tool with that color GPS tape on it, you know exactly what department you need to bring that tool back to. And we have a 3-axis Haws here. So this does all of our high production stuff. We also have this old Miltronics, which is awesome because it's not caged in. So on this guy, we can do stuff that you can't do on a Haws, like mill down 64-inch long extrusions of aluminum that would not even fit inside that cage there. And so then if we're not making something on one of our CNCs, the other way that we manufacture stuff here at FastCap is we injection mold. So we get an injection mold made, comes back to our injection molding department here, where we have 3 injection molding machines. They all run 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. And Peter is our lead injection molder, and he's going to show you around injection molding. Peter?
So welcome to injection molding. So here at FastCap, we have a lot of products, and that means we have a lot of molds because we try to do as much in-house as we can to keep a tight control on our quality. So we have well over 100 molds, and we try to keep small batch sizes so we can do things just in time, which means we do a lot of mold swaps. So in order to do that, we need to stay as organized and efficient as possible. And one of the ways we do that is by having zero ambiguity. We have, wherever you have a question, the answer is right there. So this is the pallet jack that I use to retrieve my molds. And on it, you can see the organization of our molds. They're actually, all our molds are organized by numbered pallets and then row and column. So whenever I need to retrieve a mold, I can find it almost immediately and know exactly where it is. You'll also notice that each one of our molds has a mold sheet magneted onto it. So this has almost all the information you need when running it with the program location, how to set it up, and what we do. And so, yeah, we always are updating them and improving them. We even started adding on QR codes. So one of the things we've also done recently is we made some huge improvements to our Kanban cards. So you can see one of the old ones that really doesn't have a whole lot of information at all. But we started adding in the tie-in system up here, which machines it can run on, which is color-coded and numbered. Also, we started adding in the parts per hour. And so we can figure out our runtime so we can really organize the order of the runs that we want to do. Also, the location of where we want to take it in production and even the mold location. So we try and stay very organized. Now here in injection molding, we actually do something that's going to sound crazy, but we don't focus on speed. When it comes to mold swaps and our work, we actually focus on reducing the effort of our tasks. So with our new machine, it's greatly reduced the effort. We have new magnetic platens on it, so we don't have to use clamps or bolts. A new vacuum loading mixing system, so no mixing. But I want to show you that you don't need to spend money to reduce the effort of your tasks. So we're still using our old machines running at 100%, but we have all our tools exactly where you need them. For mold swaps, we have all the things that we need to do the swap magneted inside. So this is an example of how we put our clamps when we're doing the swap. So it's a bolt on top with the magnet right there with the clamp. So it's actually just inches away from where you'll be applying it. So now I want to show you a little journey that we had when adapting our new machinery to our old. We went through a sort of a classic pitfall where we found that when we tried to focus on speed, we really failed. And then we switched our mindset and we started focusing on how we're going to reduce the effort, and we truly succeeded and ended up reducing the amount of time we're spending altogether. So this is a new dryer system that we have, and what we use a blend of nylons. So we're using 2 different nylons, and we're filling them in 2 different dryers. So it feeds into our new system, but we're also using it to feed our old. So what we're doing is we were going down here and we're filling up a bucket, getting just the right ratio from the first one and then the next one, having to measure it out just right. And then we were vacuum loading out of the bag. So we're sucking it up out of the bag into the loader, and we're spending just a ton of time, and maybe the bag would fall over and then you spend time cleaning it up. So we went to the pitfall of just dumping it in. We thought we were saving time. So we started just lifting these heavy bags. Such a strain. Dumping them in there. And we found, oh man, a lot of effort. We got to do something about that. So we started using our brain. So what we did is we started repurposing and using our mind, not our wallet, and putting our material in these bins. We actually went one step further and started pre-mixing it so we don't have to spend time going from one to the other. It's already just the right ratio. What we did is we found a way to hook up our sensors just at the right level where we need it. You can see if you look around there, you can go a little bit further, you can see a sensor. It's right at 100 pounds for maximum dryness so we don't overfill it. But as soon as I start emptying out into the bucket for what I need, it automatically starts filling it up. So there's no room for error. 100% pokey-okey, gonna fill the right level, way less effort and so much faster. I don't need to get a ladder. I don't need to start dumping it in. It's doing it on its own while I'm working. So you'll also notice these little candy canes going up here. This is our GPS tape. So we have a lot of wires and a lot of cables leading to our mixer. So we have a lot of different sensors, and I want to keep them organized for what controls what. So you'll notice here you have a yellow sensor connected to our yellow vacuum loader, to our yellow vacuum tube leading over to here. And then we have our sensor on-off switch. So I know exactly which one is controlling what. So that's one, including even see the little tubes. So anything can be rearranged, it can be taken down and be put back together with zero ambiguity. So one of the other things that we've been doing recently is we found a way to even just run overnight. We keep our dryers on, and we can actually even hook up into our material bin, and we can come into parts and have even less effort that we're spending. Thank you. And so now I'll hand you off on to Lucas.
Thank you, Peter.
That was an excellent job. Excellent job, Peter. Thank you.
This is Peter's
Brilliant.
mold maintenance
Really
table too. So Peter does all his own mold maintenance. Any pins or anything breaks, he gets those replaced. And then we actually do a lot of mold modifications too. So we'll run apart for a while, come up with a way that we think it could be better. We take the molds apart, we put them on our CNCs, we cut and modify them ourselves. And some other cool things Peter's doing right now, he's been working on cutting up water lines that are going to be saved with every mold. So when he pulls the mold out, the water lines he needs are right there ready to go. Again, reducing the amount of effort he has to put in. And then he's also working on a set of QR codes that is going to show the entire process. So if no one was here that knew how to run molding and I had a new Kanban, I'd be able to grab it. I'd be able to come, start the machine up, get the mold in, run it all perfectly. And all of it, the part he won't toot his horn about is that because his effort is so low, he can really, really focus on quality. And the quality of parts that he can put out as a result is just amazing. Sometimes he'll bring me parts and he'll be like, really want to pack this better and get a better surface finish. Like, see how it could look? I'm like, I can't even tell the difference, but it's amazing quality. So once
Lucas,
Peter makes stuff, yeah.
What have you reduced your changeovers to? How much reduction have you done in changeovers?
We've reduced at least 80% of the time that it was taking 7 or 8 years ago when I started. but each mold has its own changeover time, depending on what machine it's going in, complications that might go along with that exact mold, et cetera. And like obviously changing into our new machine with the magnetic platens, that saves 3 or 4 minutes. But our changeovers, I think, range between 8 and 15 minutes, depending on the mold.
Incredible. Thank you.
And
Yeah,
it is
of course.
incredible. And it is incredible because we don't have any crazy automation at all. Everything's still done with an overhead crane hoist, which is not
Yeah, you can show
normal.
them right there, the crane hoist over the maintenance table. And so we lift all the molds in by hand right there, but it's all about the reduced effort, reduced time comes with it. I think Peter said that. And he enjoys doing it more too, because it's not a struggle to do it fast. And that's the important part. So once he makes stuff, yeah, go ahead.
Can I say a couple things I want to make comments of that everyone should know? Number one, Lucas had enunciated this already, but I want to make sure everyone knows. We work directly with our customers to perfect our product. So our beta testers are the very people who are buying our product are telling us what to do and how to do it. We have a very close group of people. Everything happens at lightning speed. Literally, we send them a video and within 5 minutes, we're getting responses back from the beta testers instantly. We're not waiting days, weeks, or anything. Everything happens immediately, which is very, very unusual. We don't have a sales force. We don't have a marketing department. We don't have an HR department. We don't have a financial department. We don't have all the things that a company of our size that does tens of millions of dollars worth of business, because we have absolutely leaned out everything and we deal directly with the customer, and it just changes the entire dynamic. That's one point. The second point I want to make is they have said over and over again, wherever you ask the question, that's where the answer should be. You should know that did not come from Toyota. That came directly from FastCap 18 years ago. This is the story that happened, and Lucas probably doesn't even know this story. We had a very sophisticated printer, and everybody was flummoxed by running this printer in our printing department. And John Lucier, our general manager, said, God, this is so stupid. What way does the paper go in the printer? And he said, well, we should have a picture right when you open up the tray to show how the paper goes in, how it's supposed to be oriented. He said, the answer should be where you ask the question. And that's how that whole concept came about 18 years ago. It was birthed in the old FastCap, and we use it prolifically throughout our facility every day on everything. Correct, Lucas?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was a profound discovery by John Lucier 18 years ago. I'll never forget it for the rest of my life. And here, all they do is talk about wherever you ask the question, that's what the answer should be.
It makes more sense than anything else. Whenever you're stuck, you're like, what do I do? And if the answer is right there staring at you in your face, it's like, it couldn't be any easier. Yeah,
exactly.
So once Peter makes his parts, he tries to keep small batch sizes, keep flow going. It's all run off Kanban cards. But once they're made, they need to go into inventory for a little bit before they get assembled. So we're going to go over and show you a little bit of how our inventory system works. And here at FastCap, we have a huge facility, and walking around slowly creates a lot of wasted time. So you'll see that we use scooters here, and we scoot around, saves a ton of time, makes it a whole lot more efficient. And I mean, who doesn't want to jump on a scooter all day while they're at work and scooter around? It's kind of like being a kid again. We absolutely love it. So here we are now.
It also encourages keeping our facility immaculate as you see it. This is normal how clean it is because of this whole transportation method.
And so here we are, we're right in the middle of the facility, right accessible to anybody who needs anything. And this is where we have our inventory desk. And so with our inventory system, we use a system called WASP. And this is not a fancy, expensive ERP system. This is a system we paid a one-time fee for years ago, and I think it was something like $3,000. And it tracks a couple key pieces of information. But we've had some issues with it in the past, and this is another area where I've worked myself out of a job. But we have the guy who was doing this, the information it tracks. First, it has the name of the item, then it has the location. So everything in our facility has a numbered location. We call it a crumb trail. It's kind of like Hansel and Gretel. You can follow the crumbs to find anything you need. And then it stores a quantity and a date that was added. And years ago, we had a guy who was just really, really struggling. And it was easy to say, come on, can't you get this right? Like, don't screw it up. Because we'd have pallets go missing because he had to remember all the exact part numbers with the exact numbers of periods, dots, where they were. And if he typed it in there wrong once, the pallet was just lost forever. And so what we did is, instead of buying a fancier, better program, we used our minds, not our wallets. And so we've used Microsoft Excel here, and used Excel to make WASP run smoothly. So when we're receiving something, we come into our receiving checklist here, and we can enter in the part number of what we're receiving. So say it's Gluebot, you can just start typing the name, and there's a drop down here. And from the drop down, you can select the exact part number. It won't let you get it wrong. And then if you look at the quantity coming in on your packing list, you can just fill in that quantity. And when you do, using some VLOOKUPs, etc., it knows exactly what quantity we fit per pallet in our racking. And then it calculates how many pallets are going to be coming and how many pallet tags do I need. And then over on the left, there's a print macro. So when I hit the print macro out of my UPS label printer on a sticker, there's my label ready to go.
Unfreaking believable.
You'll see this work, but when I go to enter it in, there's a scanner just like this one right on our forklift. So to enter the pallet in, he just scans these. There's no, you can't type it wrong, you can't do it wrong. And when he needs to go pull a pallet out, again, we use barcodes. So he'll go into WASP, he'll take his Kanban card. Again, everything's run off physical Kanban cards, and it has a barcode on it. So when he wants to remove this item, he takes it, he dinks it under the scanner, and you can see it pulls up the top item on the list with a location, and it says that's the pallet that you need to go get. And again, he'll just scan the barcodes on there to remove it. So we'll go show you how that turret forklift works real quick. And so we have lines too on the floor we've marked out because this is a wire guided forklift. So you can see this right here is actually an electrical wire that guides it. There's about 1/2 inch of clearance on either side. So pallets get staged like this right up to the line. You can see the tags. And then when Matt goes to remove a pallet, he can just fly down the aisle here. He's got his laptop and his scanner right there on the forklift. And you can see right there, he just tags the pallet, and then there's barcodes on every rack location. So he dinks that, that's where it is, impossible to screw up again, dinks the quantity on the pallet that he's removing, then he can grab the pallet and he can pull it out. And then everything that's stored in this aisle gets assembled in the front of this aisle. So right here, we are in our production area, and this is where we assemble all of those injection molded parts that went into inventory. And everything is laid out, improvements everywhere. And right at the front here is where we have our Kanban board. And the Kanban board shows us what work needs to be done. So up here, you'll see all our Kanbans. And again, QR codes on every one, show you everything you need to know how to do it. And so Alicia here is our production leader, but she doesn't really have to manage people. She doesn't have to tell them what to do because our process does that. So Alicia gets to lead them, help grow them, teach them improvements, etc. So Alicia's going to talk to you a little bit about what her job as a manager actually entails. Alicia?
Well, I'm not a manager, I'm a leader. So I'm Alicia. Hi, y'all. Welcome to FastCap Production. Hi, Paul. This is our Kanban board, like Lucas said. On each Kanban, it tells you exactly what you need to grab for your build. Orange bin, how many you're going to build, whether you need to get a cart, stickers, inserts, etc. And on the back are QR codes for an instructional video. Every Kanban has a video. So if you have any questions on how that build goes, if the video doesn't explain it, then you get a leader and we go through it with them. As production lead, I am responsible for prioritizing Kanbans as they come in throughout the day, so that we don't have to manage anyone. They just go to the board and grab and go. I'm also responsible.
Alicia, can I ask
Paul.
you real quick? So you're in direct communication with the shipping and receiving department because they're telling you the bird that's coming to you. So you're not just operating just in your own little world. You're direct communication with the office and shipping and receiving.
That is correct, yes. I get emails from Jordan, who is the typer, and anything that's an anomaly comes up, I get it straight away from an email. I fill out an anomaly card, and that is a priority. So
in other words, it goes to you before it even goes to shipping and receiving, saying that you need to produce it so that shipping and receiving is not going, where's my stuff?
Correct, yes.
Excellent.
And I also get the privilege of helping my fellow co-workers with finding improvements, doing that all-important morning improvement that we want to find on any of our builds that we run across. Every build has an improvement somewhere in it. So we get to teach them how to see the waste and to make those improvements as we come across them. Also, I QC the first and last of the build that they do to ensure that quality is being maintained throughout the whole build and they are confident in what they're doing and they can be happy about it and have fun with it. So right here is a great improvement that we've had. This was built in-house and these are made from Peter, who we've already met. Made in the USA, woohoo! We love that. So we used to have to hand count these in tins. So all we have to do is push it on, hold our bag underneath, and it counts out 10 for us, which we absolutely love this machine. It saves us so much time. And over here,
and Alicia, that was
Yeah.
all made in the engineering department. We didn't buy that
Yes.
or anything. It was all made.
Nope,
in
we
engineering.
didn't buy it. Nope, it was made right here.
And we have a
in-house.
lot of them. You can see they're everywhere in our facility. We developed this little system and we make it and we use them.
Yep, absolutely. And right here, we have a sister product, Euro doorstop with screws. We also used to have to hand count the screws to go along with the 10-pack of Euro doorstops. And Lucas found this awesome machine for us, and it pre-counts all the screws for us. 3D printed this in-house. It was a brand new machine. It wasn't up to par how we needed to use it, so we improved it with adding a stand under it and the 3D printed dispenser. So you just put it under here and 10 goes right in.
And it already fills up 10 more, right? It's already got 10 more ready to go. So you just keep
it's already got
that
10 more. Yep, you don't have to wait
incredible.
for it. Wow. We love it. And so where this little guy sits, we got Kaizen corners, and we have a nice picture depicting how it's supposed to look when it goes back in its spot. And we've also struggled for quite a while with garbage cans, on them getting too full. People aren't emptying them when they're supposed to be emptied. So we pretty much poke-yokied it and put it on its side. So if anything starts to fall out, that is your signal to go and empty the garbage can, and it's GPSed and label on each one so that it goes back to its spot every time.
Alicia, I'm going to interrupt you one
Yes.
more time. I just want to make sure everyone knows this principle that we learned from Toyota. So on that counter that she just showed you, Toyota's principle that we learned from her is when they buy something new, brand new, a brand new forklift, a brand new counting machine, it is the worst it will ever be, because Toyota will take everything and improve on it, even if it's brand new. And this is exactly the principle we adhere to. We don't care if it's new. We know we will change it and improve it.
Absolutely.
Continue on.
Okay. Lucas, what did I miss?
Nothing at all.
Nothing?
Those trash cans are a really good example of continuous improvement. So we struggled for years to get those to get emptied and always be where they're supposed to be when they're supposed to be there. But just like the inventory system, trash cans are another great example of, it's really easy to ask someone to, oh, just do it right and not blame the process, but blame the people. But really, it's all about the process. And so if you have someone you think's underperforming as a leader, and you think they're not doing their job up to par, I challenge you, step in, learn the process that you have them doing, spend a month doing it, and see if you can even do it right, and maybe make that process better and set them up to succeed instead of fail. And at FastCap, there's no red tape. So we've gone through like 6 iterations of what to do with those trash cans, lots of different people's ideas, like, I think this could work for me or that could work for me. And finally, we landed on one that totally works. And that's the spirit of Kaizen, is you just keep improving until it actually works. We have 2 principles at FastCap that go along with that. One, we learned from Bob Taylor, is anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. What that means is don't be scared to just try it. If it works, it works. You can always improve on it from there. And that's other principle at FastCap, is re-improve what you already improved for further improvement. If there was something that needed improvement, it's something that's a problem. And that's the best place to look for more improvements. And once you've used it, you really know how to make it better and better and better. And
Lucas,
yeah,
two things. Number one, that last principle was Ono's principle, just so everyone knows. We learned that one from Ono. And the first one was from Bob Taylor. Can you just explain to people what that build area was, where Alicia is, so they know what's going on there? Because hundreds of products are made in these racking systems. I don't think we covered that.
Yeah, so that station specifically is for our Euro doorstops, which are little injection molded parts that we make on our molding machines. And they are stops for European face frame cabinets. And so we sell them in 10 packs, and we sell them either with screws or without screws if you want to use your own screws.
Not specifically that area, the whole area. Explain to them in the build area and how we build our products.
What do you mean exactly?
All the areas, all the different cells that we're building all this stuff in. People might not understand that those are all the areas where all the products are built. Behind
Yeah, I think I
her
covered
spin
that
around.
coming out of 4, but yeah, each aisle, we store all of the stuff that we're going to assemble in that aisle. And so the front of the aisles, we're thinking about our spaghetti trail here and the amount of transportation, how far stuff moves. So each one of these is a different build station. And so everything that restocks the station is stored in inventory down this aisle. And so like, this is where we do quick mandrel. This is where we do 3-way clamp. Lyle here is doing tri-trimmers, and Euro door stops are right behind you that Alicia was just showing. So these are all of our assembly stations where we put together all the inventory stored down this aisle. And then when it's done, comes out of this aisle so it can go to grocery and refill grocery. And so grocery, as stuff gets picked and packed and put into carts, that's where the Kanban cards get pulled from. You'll see that in a minute, to go on our Kanban board here and give us the signal that we need to reproduce more for grocery. And so everything that's produced in those, when it's finished, comes out to a finished pallet that actually sits right here. And Mitch just took it away to grocery. He's probably filling it up right now. He does that a couple times a day with his riding pallet jack. And then there's always something there ready to pick, but never too much, because we want to keep that grocery area small.
Lucas, have Andrea
Yeah.
spin around and explain it. There are like 50 or 60 build cells, or isn't just that one aisle, they're everywhere. So she can spin around and explain. All these are build cells everywhere.
Yeah. Yes, the front of every one of these aisles.
You don't even have to walk down them all. Just pan over to the side, because they're everywhere. There's build cells everywhere for all the different products. There we go, Andrea. All the way over, all the way over, all the way over. There you go. These are all build cells everywhere where all the products are built. There we go. And Lucas, just so you know, you went over that in the rehearsal. You didn't go over it this time.
Okay, sorry. All right, well, we're now going to take you up to the office, and we're going to introduce you to Jordan. And Jordan's going to show you a little bit about how orders actually come in, get typed up, and then how they get picked and packed, and how we accomplish our goal of 2 hours between the time that you place the order and it's in a box in the UPS truck ready to go. So Jordan?
Hey guys, my name is Jordan. I worked in the FastCap office for about 5 years now. Today, what I'm going to show you is how we receive orders from our customers and fill them. So there's 2 ways that we're going to do that, 2 main ways. And the first one is going to be receiving purchase order forms from our customers that are going to resell our items. So what we do is we receive that by fax or email, and then we convert it in our system into a FastCap pick ticket. And this is going to create standard work throughout the course of the order being picked. The other way we do that is we receive online orders from our retail store online for end users that are just placing their orders with credit cards. And Maylin over there, she downloads those and converts them into the same exact form. So once we have that created, we're going to walk out to the warehouse.
Notice there's no walls between the office and the actual facility.
Yeah, exactly. So I can walk out to office, to shipping, just like that. And I can even shout out to Darla, you know, if we need something. So the way this board is organized is in order of priority. So down here, if I'm a picker, I'm going to come up and I'm going to see that all the next day air expedited stuff is on the far left. And I'm going to know immediately, I need to take care of that stuff right away. Down here, we've got mail orders. They pick up sooner than stuff down here, just the normal today's orders. So it's really easy to see what the priority is. One other cool thing that we did is we color coded our paper. So Tuesday is purple. If we walk in tomorrow morning, Wednesday, when it's yellow, and we see a bunch of purple paper here, we're going to know immediately that we're behind and that Darla's going to need to get some extra help over here to, you know, take away that burden.
And Jordan, I'm going to interrupt you for 1 minute. I always like to give credit to where credit is due. We learned that color coding paper system from Carl Wadenston from Vibeco on the East Coast. He taught that to us about 12 or 15 years ago when we visited his place. It's an unbelievable system. So thank you, Carl. And then I also want you to just show Jordan the Pokioke system we have so we don't miss a next day air with the clipboard. There's a spot for every clipboard. Can you kind of show that?
Yeah, so like I got this next day air one and it goes right in that slot. And there's Fast Edge actually with the color coded again, red for next day air. And it shows how many of those we have. If one is missing at 3:30 or, you know, 10 till 3:30 when the next day air cart picks up, Darla's going to know right away, wow, we need to go find that right now and know what's happening. We also have, they're taken right now, but we have little cards that say in office overnight. So if I'm going to have a next day air clipboard overnight, I'm just going to slide that right in there so that Darla doesn't worry that we're missing something at the end of the day.
Wow. So wherever you ask the question, that's where the answer is. It's very simple.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent.
All right, so then we're just going to briefly show you how we would pick an order like this one. First thing you do, grab a cart. You don't want to be juggling things around. You want to grab a cart so you can put it in. I'm going to sign my name so that we know who did the order. And our grocery system is set up by bin location. And the pick ticket, the organization of that is also set up by bin location. So you'll see right here, we're in section 425. And the idea is that if you have a big order, it's going to snake you through these grocery aisles in order of bin location and spit you out at the shipping department where they're going to package up your order. So for this one, we've only got a 1-line order, but we're in 425, like it says here, row 3, and we're going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, section 5. I'm going to grab that. That's what I need. And this is really cool. We built these roller tracks so that I took my product. The next one is going to slide right down so the next person can grab it really easy, not have to fumble around reaching back there. So that's really cool. First thing I'm going to do is, because we hit a Kanban, I have to engage with that right away. Walk it over to the nearest.
We never put that off, right, Jordan?
Right, you do it right away before you do anything else, because that's the most important.
It's
so the first thing,
the Kanban is the lifeblood of our company. If the Kanban system fails, everything fails. That's why we never ignore them. Explain the whole system, the lighting system you just did, because that's all Lucas that developed that. Yeah,
this is awesome. So this is the Kanban on-don system. So I'm going to walk this to the nearest one. They're everywhere in grocery, and that light is going to pop on, that on-don light. And that's going to signal that the water spider needs to come and grab this Kanban, take it to production for their slot that you saw earlier, and produce more so that we don't run out in grocery.
So strong visual cue. Jordan,
Yeah.
I want to interrupt you one more time because see this little thing you're leaning on right now, that little board right there? See the little board?
Oh, yeah.
You're leaning on. I want everyone to know how that came about. So that came from Michael Altoff. Some of you saw the Yellow Tools tour. Michael has many times brought his team out, and in the process of bringing his team to FastCap, he picked orders to kind of see if our processes were really good. And he struggled with a place to put the clipboard. And he said, why don't you guys have a little board built into the tray, which is actually removable if we need to? And that is all Michael Altoff's idea. So when you let people into your facility and actually work their processes, you find out what's wrong with them. And Michael came up with that great idea, and we have implemented it ever since.
Yeah, and this was really cool. I don't know who came up with this, but there's a magnet right there because we have these big ass fans from that company, and they were blowing our papers everywhere. So we got these magnets, and now
incredible!
So that
that's
really cool.
Incredible! I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm not sure who came up with that. So basically, what I'm going to do is I've got 3 checks that I need to make on this to make sure I have the right thing. So I'm going to check the UPC, cross it off, our part number, cross it off, and I need quantity 1. All visually marked off. Check off that I've completed this order. I'm going to set it here, and I'm just going to wheel it right back over to shipping, where they're going to package it up and ship it out.
Very clean process. Great job, Jordan.
Yeah, all those checks Jordan's doing, that's, very detailed process, but again, it's a process that's set up to make sure people can succeed. We want people's job to be easy. We don't want them to be scared that they're going to make a mistake. We want the process to be so good that they just love coming to work and work's easy. And so you can see, again, thinking about flow here, carts go into line here where they go to our packing and shipping table. And at the end of the table there, you see our UPS truck. So that gets dropped off every morning empty. We fill that guy up every day. They take it away every night. And like I said, 2 hours from the time that you place the order to the time that it's in a box in the truck. That's our goal. So Lucas, we're next going to take you. Yeah.
I'm going to just interrupt everyone. Then that pan shot, Andre, if you could turn around and go back to the other way, turn towards the shipping area. I want everyone to notice how many things in our facility are on wheels. This all came from Japan. When we have been to Japan so many times, Lucas has been to Japan 2 or 3 times. So many of our team have been there. We noticed that in Japan, they put everything on wheels, and we adopted that philosophy. We learned it from there.
Absolutely. So next, we're going to take you over to the graphics department. Mitch here this is the finished pallet I was trying to show you after production, filling up grocery with it. And you can see even this has been improved a ton of times. This started as just a pallet on the floor. But Mitch, look, he's a tall guy. He didn't like bending over and grabbing stuff off the ground to put it up on the shelf. So he's built this entire pallet that has room for big items on the bottom, standardized spots for other bins on the top, and he doesn't have to bend over. Everything he's doing, his job is easy. And again, no red tape. Everyone gets to try buy anything they want that'll make their job easier here at FastCap.
Excellent.
So now we're headed over to the graphics department. And again, you'll see not upstairs in an office, no walls, everything here is super open. And when we get super busy, the graphics girls even come out and they help us pick orders and do production. Everyone's cross-trained to do everything. And therefore, if we get burdened anywhere, we can put all of our effort into the area that's burdened. And so these girls, they do all of our online stuff. They put all of our products online, get our videos organized. They create our labels, all of our artwork, and then they also help us all with all of our improvements. Let me tell you, if I make an improvement that looks good, it's not because I made it look good. It's because of these wizards here. So without further ado, here's our graphics department. Jamie?
Hi, Lucas. Like I said, I'm Jamie. I'm one of the graphic designers here with my fellow coworker, Andrea. So just the two of us. So one of the problems that we've encountered, mostly me, unfortunately, is when we get new products. So it's a huge process that involves a ton of our departments that you've seen. So originally it was me running back and forth being like, okay, so what's this price? What's this product? How do I do it? What do I need to have? And it became very, what would you say the word? Loop-de-loop, lots of spaghetti trails. That's the word, right? Spaghetti trails.
It was a headache for Jamie to get all the information she needed to do all this wizarding to make our products look great online is what it was.
So we created this sheet. So this is, each department has a requirement for each section of a new product, as you can see here. And so what we did was, this is the final iteration of what we originally started with. The first one definitely failed. So we had to go back and try different ways. So we got to have a trial and error period, which is great here. We get to try things. If it works, great. If it doesn't, then we go back to the drawing board. And it takes sometimes someone who is out of a department to actually fully understand what's happening. But besides standardizing the way things look, labels and stuff, Andrea, there's something else that we also teach people here that's very important.
We actually have another Kanban system over in our printing area, and you guys can see that it's actually color coded to graphics. So we are orange in this area, and it has all the information that someone from production might need if they come over here and need to print a label, an insert, anything that might have something to do with packaging. So they're going to come over here, super simple process. The computer will turn on. They're going to take this barcode that's on the bottom of this, and they're simply going to scan it. And it's going to come up with exactly the job that they need. So you can see that this actually matches the Kanban card. So they're going to click on it. It tells them the location of their paper, just like our crumb trails everywhere else. So they're going to come over to this rack over here with all our label info, or with all our labels. They're going to pull out to signal that this is the label they're using. They're going to grab a stack, do not count, big stack that they can, put it in the printer, come back over to this computer over here, and they're simply going to hit print, and it is going to print the exact quantity that they need. It's going to staple or hole punch it, whatever they need to be done. And everyone is trained to do this. We've made it a really simple and standardized process so that Jamie and I are not being bugged throughout the day to print everything that needs to be printed, so we can focus on more important things. Another thing that we have had our hands on is making our morning meeting template and whatnot. So you guys are going to actually get to head over with Lucas to our morning meeting area and see it.
Andrea,
yes.
I want to ask you one question. Go back to the printer real quick. How did you know which way to put the paper in the printer?
We have actually standardized so that you don't put the paper any other way but this way. But Jamie can show you up here. Some of our labels are a little abnormal. So this one does show you the direction because they come with a pre-printed like label portion on it that we print more on top of. So they do have to go a certain way, and it tells you everything you need to know about that if you do print those.
So I just want to make it clear to everyone, that is how that concept came about. Wherever you ask the question, that's where the answer should be. John noticed this frustration 18 years ago that we couldn't figure out how to put the printer paper in. And so this printer started that whole generation of thinking that we have populated through the entire company.
Yeah, I actually remember being around when that was added to the printer, and it was inside the printer drawer. So
exactly, it was inside the printer drawer. You remember? I remember like yesterday.
All right, so I don't think we have time to go through with you guys our entire morning meeting and what we go through, but I'll just leave you with a couple last concepts. And if you want to see our morning meeting, we have YouTube videos available showing the entire morning meeting, but we're going to end here, and this is what we call our sandbox. Sandbox is where all the kids get together and play, right? So this is our break area. We have a huge break table here, big round table. So when people take their breaks, they can sit around, they can collaborate, they can get to know each other, they can build a team atmosphere. And we actually give them 10 minutes more paid break every day than the state requires us to, just so that we can get that sense of camaraderie get everybody working together and feeling like a team. And our morning meeting, this is where we circle up right around here. We do the meeting on the screen right there. And then everything we do here at FastCap, it's all about our employees, growing them, making them happy. So we do things like we put in a gym upstairs that anybody can use whenever they're not on the clock. We let people bring their dogs to work and play with dogs. We even have people here who buy dog treats regularly, even though they don't own a dog, just because they work at FastCap and want to give treats to all the dogs at FastCap.
Lucas,
and you,
how many dogs typically are at FastCap? What's an average number of dogs that are at FastCap?
On a normal day, there's between 3 and 6 dogs at FastCap.
Okay, cool. And notice the kitchen is completely open. There's no wall.
And then, no walls anywhere. Open concept kitchen, open to the break area. And then also any tool at FastCap, we let our employees borrow them any night, take them home and use them. And so it encourages people to learn skills they wouldn't otherwise have and learn how to use the tools here, get more comfortable building things. And it benefits them, but it also benefits us, because then they come back to work and they say, yeah, I can use a jigsaw. I did that all night. It's an amazing place to work, and it's all about making the people happy, making them want to come to work and enjoy their job. So with that, I think that we can open it up to questions.
Richard, so it's all yours.
Okay, so Lucas, explain a little bit about 3Sing, because there's been a lot of chat about 5S, which we know in the past was workplace organization. So FastCap has leaned out 5S and made it 3S. So explain a little bit about the morning routine that you have everybody go through.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt for 1 second, Lucas. I'm going to let you do that, but I always want to correct the record. We didn't lean it out, Richard. We learned it from Hawks. Hawks leaned it out in Japan because they do 3S every day. They didn't think self-sustain and discipline was necessary. So they jerked those out. We learned it from them. Go ahead, Lucas.
And so, yeah, that's why it's 3. It's part of our culture to sustain and keep it doing. And we do it every morning. So every morning we start work at 7 a.m. sharp. Most people get here a couple minutes early to start going. And so we have morning chores. Not everyone has a chore every week. There's about 8 chores that have to get done: the bathroom, the kitchen, sweeping, etc. And those chores take about 15 minutes if you have one. And whether or not you have a chore, the rest of the time in the morning from 7 o'clock till 7:30 is our improvement time. So we actually give people paid time every morning where they're not just allowed, but they are encouraged and helped to make improvements to make their job better. And then at 7:30 prompt every morning, everyone circles up around here. We actually have a sound that plays over our radio system. We have music playing all the time. At 7:28, we have a little beeper that goes off, so everyone knows it's time to start gather for the meeting. And then everybody in the company leads our morning meeting. So we go through an alphabetical order, and we have a simple setup that anyone can kind of change and make their own, but goes through all the same things. We have a history segment. We go over constitutional rights, all sorts of cool stuff. And then right after the meeting, which is usually between 25 and 35 minutes, then we start working.
Excellent, fantastic. And when you talk about improvements and you talk about the people involvement, how have you managed the people that were reluctant at the beginning to get involved and said, I just don't know what to improve. There's nothing else to improve?
Well, first of all, there's always something to improve, and I have a list about this long on my to-do. So if someone really can't come up with something to do, I say, great, now I don't have to do my own improvement here. Try this, and you'll see how much better it makes your job. And the more of them you kind of feed them, they really start to get the idea. And they're like, oh, well, yeah, I was working that station yesterday that you're having me improve, and yeah, I see how that's better. And then it really starts to snap, and they start to get the idea and come up with their own. And so I think feeding people possible improvements when they can't come up with any is a great idea. Also, if they're really struggling, just go up to them during the day 3 or 4 times when they're doing a build and ask them, what bugs you about this? Are you enjoying this? Are you struggling? Are you struggling anywhere? And if they say no, stand there, watch them, and you'll see them struggling. And then you can point out, like, well, you really like grabbing that way over there? That looks like a pain. And they'll, well, yeah, I guess that is a pain. And so then you just work with them, help them do the improvement. And the more you do it with them, the better they get at doing it on their own.
Teaching people not to tolerate struggle that they traditionally are willing to tolerate.
Yes, is one of my big things. If you want to be good at lean, get bothered. Don't just be okay with the norm and the status quo. Let it bother you.
Excellent.
Unbelievable. Okay, so I'm going to go to the questions that people have asked now. Back to the injection molding. You'd got the sensors that were explained on the hoppers. what are they actually measuring?
So the sensor is a shutoff level. So the hopper is a dryer. The material has to be dried before it can be molded, and the dryer runs most efficiently at a certain level. So you can set that sensor at different levels, and that sensor says, when I fill up to this level, I will stop filling. And then as the machine pulls material, now that sensor is open, then it will fill more material into there. And so it's keeping it always at the perfect amount of material in that dryer to be drying it the most efficiently at all times.
Oh, perfect. Absolutely great. Fantastic. The QR codes that you've got all around the company, how do you read those? Tablets or cell phones or anything else?
So we have a couple iPads placed strategically around the building that anyone can grab the iPad and they can use it on there. But we also let people carry their cell phones in their pockets as long as they're using them for work, which is what they do. So they can pull out their cell phone, scan that QR code, and they can take it right with them to the build station when they're doing the task, which is really, really useful because on a more complicated task, it really helps to be able to pause, go back, make sure you got that step right before you move on. So you want that video right there with you live while you're learning to do the build is the most useful we've found.
So Richard, the photo app in all iPhones and Androids will automatically scan that and bring up the YouTube link.
Excellent. Fantastic. So that's a plug for iPhones. You got to get an iPhone because I've got an Android and Paul's given me heck over the last 6 months.
I honestly think the Android will do it too. Don't you think?
Yeah, my Android does it. I have a old Google Pixel XL2. It's like a dinosaur at this point, and it does QR codes, no problem. So yeah.
Just have it in the photo. You need to have it in the photo screen, not the video screen.
Yep.
Perfect. So when you started rolling around your beautiful clean floor on the scooters, there was a lot of chat about safety. So have you ever had any accidents with these scooters going around the facility in your experience?
We've had a couple small accidents, and most of them are a result of something like a Euro doorstop rolling across the ground that catches the wheel. But we keep it so clean, there's not a lot to crash into, and we train people. As part of our new employee orientation, I say, I'm going to blow you guys' mind right now, but scooters are tools, not toys. And if you're the one that has a bad accident, we have to take the scooters away, you're going to be in infamy the least popular person in the history of FastCap. So don't be that person. And people seem to really respect them and treat them as tools and use them for what they're meant to be used for. And we've never had any bad incidents.
We also have a safety video that we go over once a month, and that is included in our safety training. So people are reminded of it frequently. So
not once a month, every week, isn't it? Isn't the safety video every Monday?
It used to be once a week, and we've changed it to once a month because it became very repetitive. And so we started kind of quizzing people on it, and once a month was enough.
That's because nobody ever leaves in a month, right? So you don't need to do it every week. Okay,
and
so
new employees do watch it right away too. So if they start mid-month, they're started out with the safety video too.
And if you haven't seen our safety video, it's incredible. It's very in-depth. It's very fast-moving. It's very fun. Lucas built the whole thing along with the rest of the team. It's incredible.
Just one last comment on the scooters. Do the dogs ever chase you on the scooters?
They stay with you.
Yeah, my dog loves chasing me on the scooter. That's his favorite part of coming to work is he'll go beg for food, and then the minute I grab a scooter, he's like, "Oh, let's go."
Here's a more serious one. How many missed scans do you average weekly? How are they caught? And have you ever error-proofed this process? This is from Marianne. She says, our plant has LTO drivers that occasionally miss their scans.
So when you're entering stuff into the system, it's somewhat of a self-healing system because there's only so many empty pallet locations. You're always going to the nearest one. So if you're putting something in and you miss the scan when you enter it, the next time you go to put something in, you're going to think that that should be an empty location, and it's not. You all of a sudden know right away that that pallet needs to get added in. And those pallet tags have the date received on them. So when you go to enter it in, you can enter it with the proper date. And then as far as removal scans, since we're doing first in, first out, it's always pulling up the oldest pallet to pull out. If you don't scan it on a removal, it's going to send you to that same pallet location next time you go to pull that item, and you're going to immediately know, oh, that one was already removed, remove it from the system and go to the next one.
Lucas, We put you in charge of dealing with our inventory management because it was an absolute nightmare, and you went in and spent literally years perfecting it, making it better. How much of an influence did your father, who's a top executive in a food company, have on you? Because I know you spent a fair amount of time at his facility reviewing how they dealt with things. I'm curious.
I mean, so he actually spent most of his life working on the inventory system for his company, and he was working on he wasn't the programmer, he worked with a programmer and kind of told him, like, I need it to run these algorithms and those algorithms. And so he showed me the world's best system I've ever seen. But, you know, they were paying a programmer over $100,000 a year for 15 years, along with my dad, to work with him to do all this. And I mean, yes, it was all union drivers who didn't want to do it right. But their system was amazing. Like, you had to talk into the headset and they'd have a 20 number code on each pallet, and it would tell you, you need to give me letter 3, 8, and 7, so that you couldn't even memorize it and get it wrong. And so it was very influential to see how perfect it could be. But it almost made my job harder, because then I wished I could do something that perfect, but without the money. And so I had to really dial it back and say, what's necessary and what are the best parts of this system that we need to make ours good? Does that make sense?
Perfect answer. Thank you. So it had a big influence on you, but then you leaned it out in the implementation of it.
Okay, so here's the next question. The posting improvement videos, how does it help your lean culture?
So I would say it's Yokoten. And so Yokoten is sharing of best practices across every different, like, whether branch or department, et cetera, right? And it also is inspiring. So if I come up with an improvement that I want to do to, say, my backpack vacuum right here, we have like 6 of these backpack vacuums. And if I build a really cool stand that works better and this vacuum works better, then I show a video, everyone in the company sees it, and another department can say, well, we have that same vacuum. Can you come do that to ours? That looks awesome. And so then those practices get shared across the facility. And it's also really helpful for people who are newer and struggling to find improvements. They see all the improvements that are going on, and they see that improvements can be big, they can be small, and what kinds of things we're looking for. And it really kind of gets the juices flowing in their brain. And I'll be honest, it puts a little pressure on them. If they're not finding improvements, they're not making videos, and everyone else is, they feel a bit left in the dust. And they're like, I want to make a video. I want to be on there too.
How long are your orientations when you have new people come?
So I have a checklist that I go through, and I encourage lots of questions. So the orientations can vary a lot depending on how much the person knows when they're coming in, how much they already understand. You know, if I need to explain to them what things are flammable and need to go into a flammable bin and what aren't, that takes 10 extra minutes. And if they already like, yeah, these things are flammable, that saves time. But the orientations vary between 45 minutes and a little over 2 hours, probably sometimes.
Excellent. GPS tapes, you use a lot of them within your facility. Yeah. So what's the main purpose of your GPS tapes? Somebody's asked.
So the original purpose of it was to make sure that tools never go missing. So part of Lean is a place for everything and everything in its place. And so every morning in our morning meeting, we actually go over missing tools. And if there's a single tool missing out of foam in any drawer anywhere, it gets brought up in the meeting. I'm like, I don't know who took this. I don't know where it is. And so that GPS tape, it really helps, because if you find a tool in a facility this big with this many different machines and tools, you don't even know who's missing it. But when it's got that GPS tape on it, you can go to the leader of the department of that color and you can say, hey, I've found this micrometer and I don't know where it goes, but it's GPS to your department. Do you know where you'd be missing a micrometer? And then it ends up back where it is. But since we introduced it for that purpose, we found so many uses for it. Like Peter showed you those hoses and injection molding. He does airlines with them too for the robots, so he knows what airline goes to where. You saw that we used it for the trash cans, so that when you put it back, it's a clear match, like this goes here. And we've even used it for our bag sizes, because I mean, it's not that hard, but when you go to grab a 4x7 bag and you walk over to the bag rack, by the time you get there, you see all the bag sizes, you're like, was that 4x6 or 4x7? But when the bag's bright yellow bag versus the black bag, you're like, yeah, I needed the yellow bag. It's this one. There's no thinking. So it just simplifies, making you not have to think by color coding everything.
Excellent. Fantastic. Question about your Kanban cards. A lot of companies use Kanban cards. Do you ever lose any? And do you keep a count on them?
We have lost them every once in a while, and we go over that actually in our morning meeting too. That's another of the things on our, we call it the dashboard, is any missing Kanbans. And I'd say it's maybe 2 or 3 times a year that we run across a missing one. And it's a huge deal when one's missing. Like, that is the lifeblood of our company. If that's missing, like, it's basically like we're sitting there bleeding out, right? What we do to make up for it, well, basically, if a Kanban card goes missing, we're going to be low on something. But we always have a backup check. And part of that, if it's external ordering, is just people being aware. And we need that anyway, because sometimes sales change. So sometimes a Kanban gets turned in and the stuff's not coming soon enough. So when we start to get low, when someone notices there's only 20 of these left, there's only 15 left, they come and say something like, hey, are these coming soon? And then if that external ordering card was lost, we're like, no, those aren't on order. Let's expedite it. We need to make a new card. And then if it's something internal, a production Kanban, something like that, what happens is someone goes to pick the item out of grocery and it's not there. There's no Kanban card. And so it creates a little bit of havoc. It slows us down a little bit, but we just prioritize that. We get a new card made right away and get it back into the flow. And we store a lot of the information that goes onto our Kanban cards in just a backup sheet. So if they're missing, we know what was on there.
Last question, which is probably on top of people's minds. How do you measure productivity, throughput, quality, safety? What are your KPIs like at FastCap?
We don't waste time measuring all that, to be honest. We measure how much quality we can put out and how much our customers want to keep coming back to us. And, we time our builds. We know how fast we're building things. We know what our sales are like, but we don't spend a lot of time on all that charts and all of that. We don't find it to really benefit us. We find that it's all about the culture of constantly improving. And you can run all those numbers.
Question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you pull up the dashboard and we'll show them exactly what our KPIs are. You'll understand in a second what's important to FastCap. So the answer, in my opinion, and Lucas's answer was correct, is that we have a dashboard, and these are the things that we care about at FastCap. Everything else can go to hell in a handbasket as far as I'm concerned. And that is whether or not we're 2 hours fax to truck. And at the top here, you can see every one of these things. Let's not move the camera too much so I can read them. We want to know whether or not the typing department is on time, whether or not the shipping department is on time, whether or not we made any shipping mistakes, whether or not production is on time, whether or not there's any production mistakes, whether or not core is on time, whether or not engineering is on time, whether or not injection molding is on time, whether or not there's a mistake, whether or not a Kanban's missing, whether or not we have back orders. And is there a tool missing? And if there were any housekeeping items, and someone leave a piece of toilet paper on the floor. These are our KPIs. They're not traditional KPIs, and the rest of them can go to hell in a handbasket. FastCap is so successful in every possible measurement of a company. It is mind-boggling. It would make your head spin, because we have reduced our KPI to something as simple as those things that I just showed you.
That's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Okay, we're gonna stop it from there. Lucas, FastCap team, Paul, thank you so much. It's been an incredible journey, and watching what you guys have done and how you manage your business and how you grow people is an actual awesome thing. You've done a great job, and thank you on behalf of AME and the conference and all the people that put these things together. You've done phenomenal. So there was no worry, Lucas. You did a great job. Say hi to all of your team and say thank you to all of your team. And you've done a great job. You set the bar so high, and everybody's following you. It's unbelievable.
I also want to say, if you guys have any questions that you didn't get answered or something you're struggling with, feel free to reach out. We're always here to help you guys make your business better and answer any questions that you have.
Awesome. Okay, thank you.
Brought to you by paulakers.net, where you'll find all Paul's books and lean resources for free, including the new 2-second Lean Play app, like Audible, but free. To listen to Lean is Lean on the 2-second Lean Play app at paulakers.net.